Hi guys, I would love to take a few minutes of your time to be able to explain to you what it is this ministry is about. I myself got involved around 9 months ago. This came after 2 years in a Bible college down in Ensenada where I learned the Spanish language without much teaching before that. I learned the Spanish language and then knew that I was called to a summer camp program for kids from different foster homes, and then I went to a leadership school for about a semester, and that's whenever I recognized that I was really called into the ministry with drug addiction. So about 9 months ago, I got involved, and I went down there to Mexico to this small church of about 30 to 60 people regularly. And this church is in the garage of a missionary pastor who's been there for about 7 years. And this pastor has been working with drug addiction for that same amount of time after he had gotten out of he had gotten a business degree, and then he had owned a couple restaurants, and now he works as a missionary down there. This all goes into the mission, the vision that we have in the ministry as well. So I personally was able to intern and get pretty much an overview of everything, the complete cycle of life, the different areas of when people made bad decisions and then their impact on the children, because I worked with kids from about 13 to 25 and adults from 25 to 65. And we would teach, preach, counsel, give counseling, teaching the 12 steps or the 8 principles with Celebrate Recovery. And we would also just spend time with them. For example, on Wednesday nights, I would watch a movie with the kids and just spend a couple hours hanging out. That way we could be able to show them the consistency that they needed, the spiritual consistency and influence that they needed on a daily basis. We would do this all throughout the week, and we would not stop except for on Thursday when the pastor had a class, and on Saturday. Now, what I look to be able to do as I'm here in Yuba City during my internship at my home church and building up a team, there's another video on the partnership page that talks about what the team does and what they're involved in. But what I look forward to be doing in the meantime, whenever, is preparing for what I'm going to do down there. I'll be doing similar stuff, teaching, preaching, counseling, and spending time, but I want to add something into that. I don't know if you've heard of Young Life, but they have a program where they do games and some music and then a little bit of preaching, about maybe 10 minutes of preaching. But it's between like a serious youth group and a secular group, because it's not necessarily a bunch of Christian songs, but they're not too secular. And so I really like that layout, especially for these kids who have no spiritual influence, that would stay way far away from the church, but would be more inclined to come to a group like this. And so I would look forward to doing that towards the center of town so that it's easy for them to come out, because there's all kinds of buses throughout the town, around, I don't even know how many, like 150 different buses that go throughout Ensenada. And they all come together around Soriana, which is on the 6th Street in the center of town. So I would like a place that's close to there to be able to give them money for their rides, and then they come over to my house to do the weekly meeting where they get a little bit of spiritual influence that they don't get anywhere else. And these kids are really needy in terms of that spiritual and an emotional influence, because many times they don't get it from their parents at all. To be able to be that impact in their lives and to be able to see them as they grow is just an incredible experience, and I love being a part of that. From going on the streets, pushing a shopping cart, sniffing glue, and shooting some meth, to really being discipled by a pastor and pastor's wife, or by a missionary, and seeing them grow up into that calling that God has given them, a calling that they've never understood before until somebody was able to speak into their lives on that regard. And so it's so beautiful to be able to see the process that God takes them through, to see that God changes somebody so much. And I believe only God can do that change. And so I encourage you that if you are interested or feel called to go ahead and contribute, that you do so. If you just want to see more and just see the kind of process that I'm going through and what we're going through as a ministry to be able to provide for eventually job training for the women and discipleship training for all different kinds of groups of people. Also, a developing of a group that gives that kind of consistent spiritual training, spiritual presence to these kids while they're in the rehab centers is something super important and something that we look forward to doing. We are dedicated absolutely to bringing these folks out of their chains, breaking those chains, leading them to the one who breaks those chains and to the feet of Jesus, their Savior and the ultimate healer of their hurts and emotional turmoil that they have had in their lives. And so I encourage you to go ahead and look more into it. Look into what we are doing, maybe look into what other people are doing, and if you're interested in this kind of ministry and being a part of that drastic and exaggerated change, then look for a ministry that does something similar, maybe in a prison or in a rehab center like what we are doing. Anyways, I just want to leave you with that. Hope you enjoy the website. God bless.